and welcome back for another tutorial. Today we're in the second installment of the holiday stocking series, and that is going to be the adorable toe beans stocking. How stinking adorable is this little guy? Perfect for all of your little fur babies. Now this pattern is available over at my Etsy shop, so you can go ahead and click the link in the description box below, grab it now while it's on sale, and we can get to making some adorable little toe bean stockings. This is a great thing to make for your little fur baby or as a gift for a friend, somebody who got a new pet, maybe somebody's getting a pet for Christmas. Such a fun project. And I know it might look a little intimidating because we do have the toe beans and the paw pads. These have been appliqued on, but don't worry, we're going to go step by step through it this tutorial. I'm going to teach you how to apply these on, even if you're a beginner, so don't worry, I got you. And also, if you do buy the sewing pattern, there is step-by-step photographic instructions there for you to help you along the way. So this pattern does come in 3 different sizes, whether you like to spend a lot on your pets or maybe just a little something every holiday season. Every size, I have you covered, small, medium, and large. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you what is coming up next, because I do have so many fun stockings this holiday season for you, and I want you to see them all. But just know that if you want to go ahead and jump ahead to the tutorial, I will have chapters along the timeline so you can jump straight to the tutorial at any time. So if you want to get really specific with your pets, maybe you have a dog and a cat, we do have the bone and the little fishy. So we have one for your puppy dogs and we have one for your kitty cats. And I have a dog and I have a cat, so this is actually perfect for them. And I love these. There's a lot of space on these, so you could do embroidery or applique, or you could even do some HTV, some heat transfer vinyl, and have some fun, put their names on it, which I think I am definitely going to be doing. My dog's name is Blue, so it kind of fits perfectly with this adorable bone stocking. But these are trending right now all over the place. You can see these stockings, but now you can make them yourself. Now, not everybody has fur babies. Some people actually have real human babies. So we have to have a regular stocking tutorial, and we have the only stocking pattern you're ever going to need to buy. It comes in 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large, and we have your classic stocking. Now, not just a classic stocking, we also have 3 different cuff variations, and I'm so excited about these ones because this one is trending like crazy. Go Anthropologie, Pottery Barn, all of them. Scallops are in, and I just made the most beautiful scalloped edge stocking, and I am absolutely obsessed. So easy to make. As a beginner, I will make sure that you can achieve this. And this is what all of my patterns are for. All of my patterns are meant for the person who decided, I'm going to sew today. I've never sewed in my life. So don't worry, I'm here, I'm with you. Now the third cuff variation is this super cute, like pointed cuff. It kind of gives you like an elfish vibe. So if you're into that, I think that's so cute. But again, small, medium, and large, pointed, scallop, and then standard. And you can make the standard with fur or Sherpa or whatever you want, because this is, you know, your classic stocking. So all of these patterns will be, of course, on sale over at the Etsy shop. So please check them out. And yeah, let's get into the actual tutorial. Our little toe bean stocking. Okay, we have all of our pieces cut out for our little toe bean pet stocking. I am using a fleece for the exterior and a cotton fabric for the interior. This is the main stocking pieces here. We have our little toe paw pads, and I also cut those out of fleece to make it super soft and cozy. So I have 4 toes and then 1 of the little paw pads. I have a hanging loop piece that I'm using the cotton fabric for, and then I have 4 of the cuff pieces cut out, 2 of which are flannel and 2 that are cut out of the fleece. So what I like to do is I like to prepare all of my pieces, which is going to be putting on the toes. We're going to be creating our hook and loop piece, and then also our cuff, and then we'll do the final full assembly. So the first thing I'm going to do is the toes, because that's the funnest part. So I'm just going to do it on one side of my stocking. Feel free to do it on both sides. So you can cut out another set, and then you can have a double-sided stocking. Now, if you want to cut out the insides of the little toes and the paw pad, and then you can almost have a perfect placement, you can do that. You know, just kind of cut those out and then put these down, or you could just kind of eyeball it. Make sure that you have a good amount of space between the edge of a toe and the edge of the pattern. So I'm gonna say I'm giving myself an inch of space, just because we will have the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and then we want to have a little bit of distance from the edge of the stocking. So I'm just going to pin those down. If you have basting glue, or if you wanted to do some sort of heat and bond, you can do that. I'm just going to do that. And then we can just place our little paw pad. And now you can choose whichever stitch you want to use to apply your little paw pads. So whether it is a satin stitch or a blanket stitch, I'm going to have a video linked in the cards and down below showing you a more like how to do a satin stitch, just because that's one that I really like to do. So here is an example of the satin stitch. It almost looks like an embroidery stitch all the way around. It very tightly secures the paw pads to it. So I'll just kind of, so hopefully you can see that. I think it looks really good and really professional. So I like that idea, but if you're not comfortable and you want to do just a blanket stitch, I'll show you that over at the machine. You can do that as well. So now we're going to look at our stitches, and hopefully your machine has some different stitches. If it only has a zigzag stitch, you can use a zigzag stitch. So some machines, all you have is straight and zigzag. Feel free to use your zigzag, no worries. Just make sure you're going on and off of the little toe paw pads. If you wanted to use something like the blanket stitch, we have a few different choices there, even these ones down here. It's just anything that kind of goes from one side to the other, so that, and it kind of meets in the middle, so that you can kind of grab the red, and then you can grab the white and bring it together. So there are a lot of different options that you can use. Don't think that you are forced to use just one option. I would definitely test it out on some scrap fabric before you dive in, for sure, just to make sure you're happy with that stitch. But when you're using fleece, I find that using a less complicated stitch actually helps. It's in your benefit, because then you don't even really see the stitches, especially if you're using a matching. So we're just going to go with a 105, I think. I think that looks good. And I'm going to... So it is telling me to change into my F foot, which is a satin stitch foot. This is the F2. I think the F foot is a closed toed and this is an open toed. It just means that there's like a hole there, so it's for greater visibility. So if you have one of these feet, then you'll be able to see what you're doing a little bit better, but you can easily achieve these stitches with your regular presser foot. Okay, so now I'm just lining up the center of my presser foot with the edge of my little paw pad here, and I'm just going to begin. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in so that you can really see what I'm doing. Okay, so you'll see that my stitches are going on one side and then the other, and then on this side and that side. And it's sewing a straight line down the center. Now my stitches are super wide. I don't want that wide. So I'm just gonna turn it down a bit. See how this looks. And you're just going to slowly follow the edge of the little paw pad. Gives it a cute little detail. While also securing on the paw pad. All right, and we're done. So as you can see, it does add that one like kind of little stitch on the edge, but I think it looks so adorable. It gives it that like patchworky kind of vibe, like as if you were the one who hand stitched it on. So I really like the look of this as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all 4 paw pads in the exact same way, and hopefully you understand. And if you want, again, to use a satin stitch and you're not sure how, feel free to check out that video, which is linked below. Okay, and now with the tie, we're just going to take our tie piece. We're going to fold that in half lengthways, and I'm going to pin that. Now, this is cotton fabric. If you wanted to put some interfacing onto the back of this, you can. I don't find it super necessary. This isn't the most flimsiest cotton fabric. So we're just gonna go ahead and do a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance down the raw edge of our tie. And sewing down that raw edge. And back stitch at the beginning and end. Okay, so now we're gonna take our little flipper tool. I have this hook here. It has a little hook loop on the end there. So I'm just gonna take it, hook it onto my fabric there, and then we're just going to pull it through to flip it right sides out. Once it's all the way out, I just go ahead and pull it, and then I'll take a bone folder or a chopstick or a knitting needle or something, and then I just kind of push out that seam. Now if you want to center the seam, and then you can press that with your iron, then that seam will live on the inside of your hook loop and you'll never see it again. You can do that and also do a top stitching to finish this off. Give it a good press, just leave it the way it is. Whatever you want to do, it's your little loop. But I think that that works just fine. Okay, so now we're going to work on our cuffs. And as you can see, they are sort of a trapezoid shape. So the top of it is actually going to be the shorter edge. So if you have a directional fabric, keep that in mind, that this is the top and this is the bottom. So I'm going to take my pieces and I'm going to put them with the right sides together for the exterior and the interior. And then I'm just going to clip along the sides. We're going to sew down both sides with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And we want to make sure that that stays nice and consistent so everything comes together beautifully in the end. Fleece is a little bit thick, so I chose to use that flannel as the lining just because it is that much thicker, because we're going to have the exterior stocking is going to be all fleece, and then to have both of these be fleece, I just felt that it might be too much. And if you are using a beginner model sewing machine, you might want to think about that. Just means that you will have to use probably a stronger needle. So it's not doable, but I think it just, you know, it makes it lay a little bit nicer. I did that with this one with the flannel here, so it's not too bulky, and I think it looks really cute. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do the 3/8 of an inch on both sides of our cuffs. Make sure you back stitch at the beginning and end. And flip over. And repeat. And we'll do that for our lining. Just like that. Okay, so now we have our interior and exterior cuff sewn. So we're just gonna flip the exterior right sides out, and then we're going to take the interior and we're going to put that around the exterior, just like that. And we're actually going to be sewing the wider part of the cuff, so it's essentially the bottom. Line up the side seams, and you can open up your little seams there if you want to reduce the bulk. Line up the seams, you're nesting your seams, and then we'll pin. And then just clip all the raw edges, just the bottom of the cuff, not the top, because the top of the cuff is going to be sewn into the top of the stocking. So again, we're making sure that this is the widest part of our trapezoid. It doesn't look like it right now, but it is, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna sew that in a loop with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so now we're going to sew the cuff. Now, if you have a free arm, it might be easier for you to sew this by putting the loop around your free arm. That's when you take off that section of your sewing machine. As you can see, my machine doesn't do that. So this is how I'm sewing it. I do have a little pin in there. It's hard to see. And I'm just going to flatten out those seam allowance. It helps to distribute the bulk. Just like that. Okay, so now that we have our cuff sewn, we can just kind of flip it right sides out, and then we'll just tuck that lining inside the fleece there. And if you want to press that, you can do that as well. Just want to make sure that the top of the cuff, all that fabric is lined up with the exterior. But that's going to be the top, and the bottom is beautifully finished, just like that. So we have finished our little paw pads. How adorable is this? I really like the blanket stitch. It's going to be a hard choice for you if you know how to do bow stitches, which one you think looks better, because honestly, I think that they both look adorable. So I have my interior and both of my exterior, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the interior, or we're going to put the exterior pieces right sides together. Just like that. And we can pin that. Like that. Okay, and then we're going to repeat that with our lining pieces. Now with the lining, we are going to mark a spot where we're going to be leaving a hole, and that hole is going to be used for turning later. So if you want to grab some chalk or a marker, and we're just going to put a little reminder notch. And I'm going to say this is where, so about 3-inch gap is going to be right in that area. I like to do it in the kind of more straighter areas, so it's easier for me to close up the hole. So now we're just going to take it over the machine. We're going to sew all the way around, leaving the opening of our stocking. And then on our interior, we're going to do the same thing, but we're also going to be leaving that hole there as well. Okay, so now we're going to sew the exterior, 3/8 inch seam allowance. Just take your time and follow the curves. Fleece does tend to be a little bit shifty, so you might need to adjust as you're sewing. Slow around the toes. And then when we get to the inside of the toe, you're going to keep going this way. Lift your presser foot. Pivot your fabric. Put your foot down again. And then continue on. It's going to give you a nice kind of inside toe area. And then we're going to keep going. Carefully, keep going. And then we're going to stop. Lift our presser foot with the needle in. and then come back down. You really want to be able to see the toes, so this is why it's important to get this area nice. And just slowly trying to make it nice and evenly curved. And then all the way down. Perfect. Now you're just going to repeat with the lining in the same way. Now, if you want to increase your seam allowance slightly as you're going down and around those little toes, you can do that. That will help your interior stocking lay a little bit nicer. I just kind of give it maybe another like 1/8 of an inch. And do the toes in the exact same way we did the exterior. And we're going to stop at that marking because we're leaving that hole for turning. So that's why sometimes if I don't leave a marking, I just keep sewing. So it's always a good idea to leave a little marking there to remind yourself, oh yeah, I was going to do that. Because honestly, I think I was going to forget. All right. And we're done. Okay, so now that we have that sewn, we're going to take our scissors and we are going to cut in between each of the little toes. This is going to help to relax the fabric so that it kind of allows the scallop of the toes to separate and you'll be able to see it better. And we're going to do that with... You don't necessarily need to do it with the lining just because it's going to be inside out when it's on the inside of the stocking. But you can do it anyways. And then I'm going to use my pinking shears for my cotton fabric because cotton is a woven that frays. I'm not going to do it where that hole is. I'm just going to do the toes. Just going to reduce the fabric as well in the toes so it doesn't feel like there's a bunch of fabric that's just kind of bunched up inside each toe. And then it just will allow everything to lay beautiful and flat. But of course, cutting down the seam allowance, especially on a woven, will help things from fraying and breaking down, especially if this is going to be like an heirloom piece that you're going to pass down from pet to pet. You want everything to last as long as possible. So now that I've done that, You can cut down these as well if you want. It's fleece though. Fleece is, I'm not too worried about it. So now we're going to take the exterior and we're going to flip that right sides out. And now we can really kind of appreciate the shape of the stocking. Now this one is the medium that I made. Yeah, I think this is the medium size. How cute is that? So as you can see, the fabric has relaxed from that little slit, so you can really see each individual paw there. Oh my goodness, I'm obsessed. So now we're going to take the cuff and we're going to put that, I'm going to slip that over the exterior, and I'm going to clip that. And again, if you want to separate that seam there to reduce and distribute the bulk, and then we'll just clip the edge. So as you can see, things are getting a little bulky. We got lots of fleece going on here, and then we still have to insert our lining fabric and the tie. Now because I have all these layers of the fleece, that's why I chose to do the cotton fabric. Now I did do it with a fleece tie, and it's doable, definitely doable, but I did bust a needle doing it. So just keep that in mind, you know, for safety reasons. The fleece is just crazy. So I'm going to take this now and I'm going to pin that onto one of the sides. Now, I think, hold on, I think I put it on the wrong side for that one. So if you wanted to hang out with a bunch of, you know, regular stockings, like your family stockings, you're going to want to have it on the right side, just so that it hangs the right way. If you did the paw print on both sides of your stocking, then it doesn't matter. But just keep that in mind. I'm putting it on the right side. It's on the right side in the pattern. But I obviously did that one incorrectly. I wasn't thinking. So now I'm going to take the lining stocking and I open up the hole there, and we're just going to scrunch up the toes and push that on inside. It doesn't have to be perfectly inserted. It's just enough so that we can get to the top of the lining. And then we're going to line up the raw edges, just like we did. And this is going to be a little bit more difficult because we have the tie on in between, but you want to try to line that up with each other as well. And like that. Just like that. And then just kind of pull it like that. Now we're just going to go ahead and sew that loop. Like I said before, if you have a free yarn, feel free to take that off. This part will be a lot easier. And we're going to do a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And just keep going. It is a little bit bulky there. I think that might be where the tie is. I don't remember. If it is, if it's too bulky, go ahead and use a hump jumper. But if not, then power through. Okay, so go ahead, inspect your work. Always constantly inspecting your work, making sure that all of the layers are cut. I'm cutting it close in some of these areas, but that's okay. And we're gonna go ahead and we're going to flip it through that hole. So just kind of grab it, just like that. Pushing it all the way through. And then you can kind of push the stocking deep inside. Oh my goodness. I'm obsessed with these. They're so cute. So cute. And I love the lining too. It's just adorable. So now all we have to do is pull out the lining. I know we just put it in, but you know, we want to just make sure it looks beautiful. And we're just going to fold in those raw edges. And we're going to sew them up. And I just like to do a 1/8 of an inch little top stitch there. Nothing too crazy. You can do a blind stitch, hand stitch as well, use matching thread. But to be honest, no one's ever going to see it. And I'm not judging you. So just do a little top stitch and then that's it. Okay, just like that. Okay, and we're done. How cute did that turn out? I would love to see your little toe bean stocking. So hit me up over on social media, leave a review under the pattern, post your photo so that I can share it with the rest of the community. How cute is that? And maybe even take a picture with your little fur baby so we can see who is the new owner of your adorable toe bean sewing pattern. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Give me a big thumbs up. Comment if you have any questions. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye, guys.